Hi, I'm Tiffany Newby, and this is my interpersonal communication project. Interpersonal communication is the type or kind of communication that happens when the people involved talk and listen in ways to maximize the presence of the personal. Stewart tells us that communication is a way to express ideas, get things done, entertain, convince, and to persuade others. There is a close connection between the quality of your communication and the quality of your life, according to Parks. Next, EMC. With the EMC, that's our identified needs plus our intentional resourcing, and this equals enlarging our conversations. By using empathetic communication, we can help to enlarge our conversation. The key here is to recognize the audience and the environmental influences which can all affect enlarging the conversation. Through this course, I have recognized that I like to talk a lot more than I like to listen. My identified need here is to learn to listen more empathetically. Some of the resources in which I could use that would help me would be effective listening. This would also help to bring about more self awareness. Next, OAR, or the overarching goal. The overarching goals here is that of empathetic listening and more self awareness. Empathetic listening is the ability to listen into other people's experiences, understand them, and not to judge. Self awareness is listening carefully to what we say and how we say it and can teach us an immense amount about ourselves. Burley Allen indicates that effective listening involves not only listening to and tuning into others, but also tuning into our own selves. This also, again, will help bring about more self awareness for me. The more self awareness that I'm able to achieve, the better I am able to choose my responses rather than act automatically. This in turn will help me to respond to what is real rather than emotions or misconceptions. This leads me now into my behavioral blends. Next, my behavioral blends identified in the Uniquely You profile indicated from the public perspective that I was an SI. This states that I'm submissive and am inspiring. However, from the personal perspective, the CSI indicates that I'm a very cautious person. However, I still like to inspire and also am submissive. The public perspective here indicates that I am more a people person than I am task oriented. My leadership style tends to be more relational and emotional. Next, positive behavior blends, the SI and the CIS. The positives here are I have very good people skills. I have the capability of speaking and influence. I have the capability of speaking or influencing large groups. I am clearly motivated to influence others through my communication skills. I prefer peace and harmony, and I'm pretty good at thinking and problem solving. The negatives to my behavioral blends. I have a strong desire to be liked by everyone. I would love to avoid confrontation at all costs, and I kind of slack a little bit on checking facts for accuracy. Here also, I seem to lack the assertiveness and aggressiveness and demanding and being more decisive. Also, I have a tendency to allow others to intimidate me. Next, the potential barriers. Potential barriers here for me are conflict management. I prefer healthy environments rather than antagonistic ones. I resist pressures by being nicer than others, and I do like to serve others. Because of the conflict management issues I have, I sometimes overlook the wrongdoings of others or even their children as to avoid any possible fallout. Can become very passive when I feel a conflict could potentially arise. I definitely prefer peace and harmony as well as organized environments. Unfortunately, because I sometimes hide my thoughts and opinions from others, when I can no longer hold it in, I have a tendency to not let it out always in the best way, which I do need to work on. Next, the next potential barrier is my lack of assertiveness and aggression. I seem to struggle with speaking out. I take too long to think out of a solution to a problem, and I definitely allow my emotions to control me. Next, how to deal with my potential barriers. Well, first of all, I need not allow people to intimidate me into doing things that I wish not to do. I have to show more assertive behavior, which will help me to promote equality in my relationships and enable me to act in my own best interest. Next, I need to recognize and embrace that the support roles that I do take also have a bit of a leadership position in those. Currently, I'm definitely working on letting my opinions be known, and I'm trying to remove the negativity out of my communication. Next, noise pollution. By reaching a level of self acceptance, we then can remain open to our self defeating behaviors. Some internal noise pollutions that affect me are the I can and I always, the fatigue, and semantic barriers. Self awareness can be achieved through listening to myself, according to Burley Allen. It is difficult to understand others until we have learned to effectively listen to ourselves. This, in turn, has become my habit when difficult situations arise. The negative self talk can reinforce the assumed failure that is to come. Next, the external noise pollutions. Views of outside activity or scenery, time, pressure, deadlines, and fidgeting. In Burley Allen's self teaching guide, I recognized that a few of the external distractions listed really did affect my ability to listen effectively. The ability to see outside, time pressure deadlines, and fidgeting causes complete distraction for me. Unless the information that's being disclosed was of some interest to me or some personal importance, these external noises cause a complete diversion from the matter at hand. Next, biblical views. These two verses have really touched my heart over the past 8 weeks in concerning communication and listening. Proverbs 18:2 states that a fool finds no pleasure in understanding, but delights in airing his own opinions. And Proverbs 18:13 tells us that he who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. The importance of listening is very evident according to these verses. Listening is a skill that I must work on continuously, not only to become an empathetic listener, but also to be able to do the will of God. Finally, my action plan. My goals here are to become a more empathetic and effective listener and to continue with self awareness, which is definitely a critical aspect. The more information that's been covered on listening better, listening empathetically, listening non judgmentally, and reframing from solving problems, the more I'm better able to understand how much harder I need to work on those skills. Next, I am definitely learning to speak up, to let my opinions be known without being too negative. I am definitely trying to keep that negativity out of my communication. The use of encouraging skills in order to better clarify the information I receive, and also using paraphrasing for verification check are two skills that I'm trying to implement in my day to day communication. I'm also trying to include the person's emotion during the paraphrasing stage. Finally, after reading Peterson's book, I have learned that I must make sure that I'm calm enough to hear the talker, and I also have to make sure that I'm not too bothered in order to be receptive. Thank you.